Okay, now we move to talk about the other side of the economy, namely the aggregate supply. We have already talked about, the aggregate demand that, represent one side of the economy. Now, the other side of the economy is the aggregate supply. Of course, aggregate supply. Now, energy supply, of course, as we said at the beginning of the lecture, that it consists of two, curves. Okay, one related to the short run and the other one related to the long run. Now, so we have here short run aggregate supply, short run aggregate supply, and we have long run aggregate supply. Long run aggregate supply. So let's talk about the short run aggregate supply. The short run aggregate supply, of course, short run aggregate supply shows the quantity supplied of all goods and services in the economy, which are basically real GDP or output. So it shows the quantity supplied of all goods and services in the economy. Which is actually, when we're talking about all goods and services in the economy, actually we mean the output in the economy or real GDP. So here we mean, of course, here we mean, of course, output or real GDP. So short-term aggregate supply shows, okay, the quantity supplied of all goods and services in the economy or of output in the economy or real GDP in the economy. Of course, it is upward sloping. It is upward sloping. It is upward sloping curve. It is an upward sloping curve. So the short-term supply curve is upward sloping, and that indicates that there is a positive relationship between the price level and the quantity supplied of real GDP. So graphically, it's like this. This is the price level, and here real GDP. It is upward sloping, as you can see. This is short run aggregate supply. It's upward slope. Okay, price level along the vertical axis and real GDP. So as you can see, there is a positive relationship between the price level and real GDP. As the price level increases, the quantity supplied of real GDP will increase, of course, ceteris paribus. Okay, now, of course, economists has proposed some explanations of the upward sloping curve of the short-term aggregate supply. In other words, when we say that the short-term supply is upward sloping, of course, there are questions maybe asked why it is upward sloping. Of course, economists have, suggested some explanations of the upward sloping, short-term aggregate supply. Let's look at some of these explanations that economists have, proposed to, show that the short-term supply is upward sloping. Therefore, here we say, of course, let's say here, some explanations of the upward sloping short-term aggregate supply. You look at sticky wages. Sticky wages, which actually we mean inflexible wages, fixed wages, or inflexible wages. Of course, it is sticky, of course, because management and workers, when they sign a contract, that contract will last for 1 or more years. And so it's going to be sticky for this period of time of the contract. That's why it's sticky. Now, sticky, of course, management and workers, they see that they see sticky wages as to be in their interest. As far as the management is concerned, sticky wages, of course, it is in their interest because firms or management, feel safe, of their labor cost for the period of the contract, which might last 1, 2, or more years. Therefore, they are safe because they are now safe that there will be no change in the wages, and that will affect, their labor costs. That's from the side of the management. How about from the side of the workers? Of course, workers, as far as sticky wages are concerned, they also feel a kind of sense of security because now they have, a contract that lasts for 1 or more years, and so there would be no change in the wages they receive from the management, and so they feel some type of security that their wages are fixed for the time of the contract. So also, sticky also has advantages in the sense that from a notion of fairness. Sometimes we can look at sticky wages from the side of fairness, okay, and justice. Now, the question is that why sticky wages, or what does sticky wages, or how sticky wages provide an explanation for the upward sloping short-term aggregate supply? Okay, as you can see, firms usually pay nominal wages, okay, to hire, they pay usually nominal wages. And their decision to hire workers, of course, depends on the real wages. Okay? When we say real wages, okay, usually one say that, firms pay nominal wages or nominal pay. Okay. However, their decision to hire workers depends on real wages. So their decision to hire workers depend on real wages or real pay. They could be wages per day or wages per week. Okay, real wages, real wage or pay, let's say, is equal nominal wage or pay over price level. The index, the price that is used, okay? Or the CPI or consumer price index, okay? Consumer price index is CPI, okay, or GDP deflator, as an index. So this is the real wage or pay, nominal wage or pay over price level. Now, let's say, for instance, they pay workers $200 per month, per week. They pay workers $200 per week. Of course, the real wage here, real pay, is 200. Let's say here, of course, $200 per week, and the price level is, let's say, 150. So real pay is going to be equal 200 over 150, which is equal 200 over 150, which is equal 133. $133. So the real pay is $133. Okay, remember that when the real wage increases, the quantity supplied of labor will increase. So workers are willing to work more hours or willing to work when the real wage goes up. So here we can say real wage or pay go up. That implies quantity supplied of labor goes up when real wage or pay decreases. That means quantity supplied of labor decreases. So workers are willing to work more hours when real wages is going up, and workers are willing to work less hours when real wages is going down. Great. What about the firms? Firms, the quantity demand of labor is related to the firms, to the businesses, the management. So as far as the firms, as far as management, the relation is different. Real wages go up, it means quantity demanded of labor. When the real wage is going up, of course, it's not, it's not for the advantage of the management or the firm. So what they have to do, they have to decrease their hiring of workers. So it means the quantity demanded of labor will go down. What about when the real wages going down? That implies that will encourage firms to hire more workers, which implies the quantity demanded of labor increases. Great. Okay. Now let's now give an example here. So these are important to know what's going on. Now we want to see how sticky wages provide an explanation of the upward sloping short-run aggregate supply. Let me erase over here. Now, let's say that when firms, of course, let's say that firms pay $200 per week to hire workers. 200. Say that when firms pay $200 per week to hire workers, it hire, let's say, 200 workers. Let's say that firms pay $200 per week, okay, and that the price level is 150. Okay, the price level is 150. So here we say that, assuming that the firm is paying $200 per week, okay, to hire workers, and then with that pay, the firms hire, let's say, 200 workers, okay, and so the real pay per week is going to be equal, we already said over here, it's $133. $133. Firms hire 200 workers. Now, suppose that the price level decreases. Okay, unexpectedly, the price level decreases. Suppose now the price level decreases to, let's say, to 100, let's say 20. So in this case, what happens to the real wage or real wage pay? So the real pay now becomes 200 over 120, which is equal 200 over 120. We got 166. You got $167. Okay, $167. Now, as you can see, real wage is higher, much higher. So as we stated over here, when real wage go up, what happens? Of course, firms will hire less workers when demand for labor will go down. Therefore, now firms would like to hire less workers. Say 100 workers. So now we learn the following. Now, when the firm hires 100 workers, when the price level decreases, it means 100 workers will give a production or will produce less output than 200 workers. Therefore, here, quantity supplied is less. Okay? So now what we learned here now, that the price level decreased, that implies, of course, price level decreased implies less workers are hired, and this implies less output. And that shows, and this, therefore, this shows, or this proves that sticky wages provides an explanation of the upward sloping short-run aggregate supply. Another explanation for the upward sloping short-run supply curve is, of course, the workers' misperception. As you can see, economists have proposed, some explanation for the upward sloping to explain why the short-run energy supply is upward sloping. We have already talked about the sticky wages. Now we talked about another explanation, which is workers' misperception. And therefore, here, workers about real wage changes. Let's illustrate this. Of course, let's say, for instance, the initial pay, minimum pay is $200. Okay, example. We have here nominal pay. We have a price level, and we have real pay. Let's say the nominal pay is $200. $200 per week. And the price level initially is 150. 1.50. This is the price level. This is the index of the price level. So therefore, the real pay, we divide this over that. Of course, here, when we divide this over that, You get one, of course, 33. $133. Now, let's say, for instance, the nominal pay and will and the price level have declined, declined the same percentage. Okay, let's say here 200. Now let's say declined. Let's say this nominal pay declined 20%, and the price level declined 20%. So both have declined the same percentage. Okay, 20% of this, of course, it's becomes 60 here, 160 dollars per week, and 20% of that so becomes 1.20. So now, when they both decline by the same percentage, definitely the real wage will be the same. So the real wage is going to be what? It's going to be 133. When we divide 160 over 1.2, we get, of course, 133. So, the same real pay. Now, however, workers mistakenly, workers mistakenly think that the price level has, yes, indeed, declined, but not to 120, from 1.50 to 1.20. Perhaps it has declined maybe to 1.40. Okay, here price level declined to 1.40. Let's see. Okay, so as you can see here, when we divide 160, of course, mistakenly, workers believe that, yes, indeed, the nominal pay has declined, and also the price level has declined, but they don't know, or perhaps they don't have the information, or mistakenly believe that the price level decreased to 1.40 instead to 1.20. So let's see exactly, the real wage here. So the real wage over here, $114. So here, as you can see, therefore, workers mistakenly, when they believe that the price level has decreased, but not to 1.20, to 1.40, for instance, then the real wage is much lower. Therefore, according to the rule we have already put, that the supply of labor is, of course, directly, related to the real wage. When the real wage increases, the supply of labor will increase. So when the real wage decreases, therefore, it is expected that the workers will provide less labor. Therefore, here, real wage went down. Therefore, less labor is supplied. And when less labor is supplied, it means less output is produced. That implies less output is produced. Less output is produced. Therefore, so this explanation also provide, some type of understanding of how or why the short-term supply is upward sloping. So, as I said, sticky wages as well as workers' misperception about real wage changes provide an explanation for the upward sloping of the short-term aggregate supply, curve. And so, the workers' misperception about, real wage changes, then that will lead to, lower real wage according to, their mistaking, or misperceived, knowledge or idea about, the real wage. Then they will come up with a lower real wage, and that lower real wage implies for workers is that they will, they are not willing to provide more work. However, they are going to provide less work, and as a result of a decrease in the labor, then we'll expect that output is going to be less. And that is, and this, of course, explanation is used to show the upward sloping of the short-term aggregate supply curve.